And now we'd like to go to the Finance Committee.
Item
Member
number
Rummel.
65 is an ordinance recommending the fiscal year 2019 annual budgets and appropriation ordinance of Lake County, Illinois. The said budgeting having been made conveniently available for public inspection at least 15 days by posting at the office of the county clerk and of the county website. The budget reflects all the budget actions that have been approved by standing committees. And I turn it over to Carol to start, and then we're going to go back and forth.
Okay. The county board is proud to be a leader in fiscal responsibility. The county board maintains a strong track record of making prudent, long-term decisions, using resources efficiently, and maintaining sustainable financial operations. As a result, our budget is balanced and Lake County is fiscally stable. We know that property tax burden is the #1 issue facing our residents. We consistently hear this when we're talking to our residents, in our citizen survey, and the telephone town hall meetings. In an effort to provide some relief to our taxpayers, this board took action. We directed staff to build this budget while keeping the county property tax levy flat. In other words, it does not take the almost $3.5 million increase that's allowable under the Consumer Price Index. While the board has control of about 7% of your property tax bill, it's important that we do what we can to address this critical issue for our residents. Now, I'd like to turn it over to our interim county administrator, who is responsible for preparing and presenting this budget to the county board.
Thank you. As you know, we get together whenever a new board is seated and we develop a strategic plan. And that strategic plan really is the effort of all of you to say what collectively do we want to accomplish, and who are we, and where do we want to go in the future. If you look at our mission, it says we deliver exceptional, financially sustainable services that promote a safe and healthy community while enhancing economic vitality. That's our mission and who we are. Our vision is where we want to go. Lake County is a place where people, families, and businesses thrive, and its government is recognized as an innovative leader and a model of excellence so present and future generations enjoy the highest quality of life. Underneath of that, we added values in the last few years. And the point of the values is really to focus both our time together as well as our staff on what's most important to us. No matter what the subject matter is, we would like to include leadership, fiscal responsibility, exceptional service, operational excellence, and environmental stewardship in all of the things that we do. And it influences all the things that we do. We talk a lot whenever we have the opportunity with taxpayers about tax collection. The county is responsible as the collector of the tax. However, as the chair mentioned, our budget represents only 7% of an individual's property tax. This is a $1 coin, and it's demonstrating to you that in most jurisdictions, there are a few changes from here to there. Most jurisdictions, the schools represent 69 to 70% of the tax bill. You also have cities and villages that are in the 9 to 10 or 11% range, depending on the city or village. You have fire, you have townships, you have parks. So again, Lake County is able to impact just 7% of that tax bill. Saying it another way, 93% of your tax bill comes from a different jurisdiction. Lake County is simply collecting it and passing it through to that jurisdiction. To give you an example of how this impacts a homeowner, a home valued at $200,000 would expect to pay about $450 of their tax bill to Lake County. That is the impact that we have. What do we do with the dollars that we have, and where do they all come from? So this budget is built on a diversified revenue base. So our property taxes, as we mentioned, represent about a third of our budget, or 32%. Miscellaneous is for today, but if you look in our budget, it outlines it in great detail. Then you have sales and income tax charges for services or fees that we charge when people come in for services. Payments from other governments. These may be intergovernmental agreements that we have, or they may be pass-throughs from federal and state departments. In addition, we have about 6% of our budget that is supported by grants. Then the next question in our budget is, what do we do with the funds that we have? So if you look at this, approximately a third of our budget goes to justice and law enforcement. That includes prosecutors, public defenders, the courts, court records, the sheriff's office, and the jail. The next largest portion of our budget is transportation and infrastructure. It's also almost a third. It represents our roads, transit, water, sewer, and stormwater management. In this area, we oftentimes use our local dollars to capture federal and state dollars. So it's important when we work on both stormwater management and transportation, as well as sometimes in public works contracts, to secure federal and state dollars to bring them home here to invest in Lake County. The next area is health and human services and community services. We use these dollars, again, to capture state and federal dollars here in Lake County, as well as private foundations, bringing health and community services here to our residents. In finance and administration is 15%. That includes maps, human resources, all sorts of things in the general category. Elections and vital records is 3% of our budget. And then debt service, we want to emphasize, is a very small percentage, or 3%. That's part of the reason why we're able to retain our AAA bond rating, which is important here in Lake County.
The fiscal budget year 2019 is balanced and spends $453.3 million. That's the amount without a double appropriation. In order to show the true cost of county services, certain items such as healthcare costs show up in more than one fund. With those internal expenses or double appropriations, the amount of the county budget is $512.38 million. The operating budget, which funds the day-to-day operations, is $3.3 million less than FY18, or about 1% less. The Lake County property tax levy is flat, or it does not take an allowable levy increase based on the CPI. The only increase for property tax revenue will come from growth on new properties. Lake County has been able to hold the line on our budget because departments are implementing operational efficiencies, leveraging technology, and sharing services that are making a difference to our bottom line. The county continues to maintain a AAA rating, the highest rating possible from 2 rating companies. We are only one of 3% in counties in the country that have a AAA rating from Standard & Poor's and Moody's. Strengths that attribute our AAA are strong budgetary performance and well-maintained financial operations with strong financial policies and practices, and health and reserves and manageable debt. The operating budget that funds most of our county departments and agencies is actually down 1%. As you can see from the chart, the FY19 budget is balanced at $3.3 million less than the FY18 budget, which is a 1% decrease. We have faced some budget challenges and how we balance those, and I'll turn it over to Patricia to talk about those.
Some of the challenges that we faced in this fiscal year were that we do have a stable revenue stream that is no longer growing, and so that is difficult to balance against constantly increasing expenses. That being said, we did have a few one-time instances this year that helped us to even add some new program requests that we'll highlight soon in the next couple of slides. As Amy mentioned, the Lake County Board's strategic plan serves as a roadmap for county government. Residents, local leaders, stakeholders all provided input on their priorities through a variety of channels, including telephone town hall meetings and a resident survey. The board updates this plan every 2 years. The existing plan identifies 5 strategic goals: enhancing economic opportunities, improving transportation, promoting a sustainable environment, building healthy, inclusive, and resilient communities, and providing public safety and advancing an integrated, data-driven justice system. Our strategic plan is important because it drives the budget and allocation of resources. The next several slides provide examples of budget decisions and investments made in support of these strategic goals. This budget includes funding for continued partnership that creates jobs, attracts, retains, and expands businesses, and pursues economic diversity. It also continues to dedicate 100% of the hotel motel tax, approximately $95,000, to fund the Lake County Convention and Visitors Bureau. The county is supportive of a sustainable environment. To that end, this budget includes funding for retrofitting appropriate county vehicles to reduce engine RPMs while idling, saving fuel, and reducing carbon dioxide emissions. It also provides for the continuation of a third-party contract to further sustainability efforts, including energy audits, carbon footprint reduction, and continued food composting in the jail. This budget includes $51.4 million in road and related improvements. While much of this focuses on resurfacing and widening roadways, it also includes investments in Passage, which provides live traffic information and can reduce traffic congestion through traffic signal timing adjustments. The budget also includes funding for investment in non-motorist transportation, including bike path expansion and dial-a-ride. This budget also invests in several resources in the area of public safety and justice, including a police drop-off crisis resource center, the reinstatement of a victim offender mediation program, and resources to support for specialty court and self-represented litigant courtrooms, a coroner's deputy to support families experiencing a loss, a juvenile counselor to support troubled youth, and a pretrial service officer to reduce the jail population. It also dedicates funds for renovation in the sheriff's office annex and cameras in the jail for safety of inmates and personnel, as well as risk management. With the strategic goal of healthy, inclusive, and resilient communities in mind, this budget includes funding for an expanded wellness program specifically focused on the mental health and well-being of our employees who are exposed on a daily basis to the harsh realities of criminal behavior and their effects on victims and society. And this budget once again dedicates 100% of video gaming revenue, which is about $650,000, to addiction treatment and behavioral health programs. Some of our budget decisions were made with the objective of transparency and improved communication in mind. These include an internal communications tool that enhances the sharing of information, as well as expanding access to public records through the Lake County Open Data Hub. This budget also includes funding for 3D imaging of buildings to reduce the need for on-site inspections and to improve response time in emergencies. Another investment is in continual improvement, which includes focusing resources on internal controls and investing in recruiting and retaining the highest quality employees. We also continue to invest in technology to deliver products and services in an efficient, cost-effective, and secure manner. We will go live with a new tax system next year that will improve access to service for taxpayers and streamline operations for our tax departments. This budget also invests in voting equipment that supports a universal voting system which allows all voters, regardless of abilities, to make their selections privately and autonomously and in their chosen language. With that, I'll turn it back over to the chairman.
Yes, thank you. We've got a number of grants, and they total over almost 32 million in this budget. It's a huge amount. And I'd like to thank all of those who worked on writing these grants and obtaining them. Some of them have taken over 3 years to secure, and it'll take us a number of years to fulfill the agreements that we made in these grants. But one of the highlights is the John D. and Catherine MacArthur Foundation Award. It was for $700,000 grant to the Lake County Sheriff's Office to continue building on efforts to reform the local criminal justice system and safely reduce the county jails population. There is a little over $3 million grant for substance abuse and mental health services for adolescents and behavioral health disorders. The comprehensive opiate abuse site-based program grant administered by the Department of Justice will provide $500,000 to Lake County's A Way Out program. It was launched in 2016 by the Lake County Opiate Initiative. A Way Out helps connect individuals who are addicted to opiates or other drugs with the substance abuse treatment. Participants can walk in to one of 13 participating police departments and request a way out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without fear of prosecution. Through the grant, the health department will hire 3 full-time staff, a dedicated program coordinator, and an additional crisis care program counselor, and a navigator who will provide support and follow up to participants and their families. And closing,
The entire fiscal 2019 budget is available on our website, and you may either call the county administrator's office or the finance department with any questions. And now comes the good part. I want to thank the county administration, the finance department, along with all the departments for working on this budget, and I wish to thank each and every member of this board for spending the time and effort we spent on the 2 days going over the budget. And with that, I so move we approve the budget.
it's been moved by Member Rummel and seconded by Member Bartels. I need a roll call vote. Okay, questions?
When it said 4%, others 4%, and I want to know what that other was. With the taxes you had up there, with the schools get 69%, the city, this county gets 7%, and all, but you had up there 4%, but you didn't, you said others, and I want to know what others was that.
So we can give you a full breakout, but there's little slivers for many different taxing bodies.
Like a mosquito abatement district or perhaps special service areas, those types of things make up a very small percentage of the total.
Yeah, just in case my constituent asks me, what is that 4% when you're talking about raising taxes? I can explain to them what the 4% went to. That's what I want to go. I want that to put in my newsletter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Bartels. Calabresa.
Aye.
Carlson. Cunningham. Danforth. Durkin. Frank. Hart. Hewitt. Maine. Martini. Matthias. Paxton. Peterson. Rummel.
Aye.
Taylor. Weber. Warfel. Wilkie. Wyatt. Madam Chair.
Motion carries.